Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the game according to me. This one is going to be a little bit different, as not only as I need to do a lot of things I have to do today, and I have to do it today. Um, so there's not going to be a lot of mishmashing around or anything like that. We're just going to get right into the action and everything like that. Um, yes, but I'm only going to talk about the NFL. I'm not going to go through NBA stuff or anything like that. Um, there are two quick stories here in the morning that I do just want to quickly touch on. The San Francisco Giants yesterday voided the contract of Carlos Correa because he failed his physical. Um, Carlos Correa had signed with the San Francisco Giants sometime last week, I believe, and his physical was today. He failed it, so the San Francisco Giants voided the contract. This morning, he's now signed with the New York Mets as Carlos Correa, so he is now a New York Met, and we'll see if that signing sticks. But the bigger news, the biggest news of today, is that Steelers Hall of Fame running back Franco Harris has died at the age of 72. Franco Harris, the Hall of Famer, whose heads up thinking authored the Immaculate Reception, considered one of the most iconic plays in NFL history, has passed away. Harris's son, Doc, told the Associated Press his father passed away overnight. No cause of death was given. His death comes 2 days before the 50th anniversary of the play that provided the jolt that helped transport the Seahawks from also-rans in the NFL's elite, and 3 days before Pittsburgh is scheduled to retire his number 32 during the ceremony at halftime of its game against the Las Vegas Raiders. We have lost an incredible football player, an incredible ambassador to the Hall, and most importantly, we have lost one of the finest gentlemen anyone could ever meet. Pro Football Hall of Fame President Jim Porter said in a statement, Franco not only impacted the game of football, but he also affected the lives of many, many people profoundly in positive ways. Harris ran for 12,120 yards and won 4 Super Bowl rings with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s, a dynasty that began in earnest when Harris decided to keep running during a last-second heave by Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw in the playoff game against Oakland in 1972. A lot of things there. And there's more, but you can just check it out online. I'm reading from the Associated Press. Um, yeah, it seems like he was a star, the straw that stirred the drink of the Steelers dynasty in the 70s. You may have had Terry Bradshaw, you may have had the Steel Curtain, but he was the one that made the go. And unfortunately, with this time of the year, this Christmas time, it's supposed to be a time of joy and happiness, and this has now come upon many people. To the Steelers family, to the Harris family, and his friends, teammates, and fans, my thoughts go out to you in this difficult time as you've lost one of the seemingly better men. Not only good football player, but better men. It's one of those things that you do where he was a great football player, but he was a better man. And it seemed like, unfortunately, that has happened. We have lost Franco Harris at the age of 72. Okay, so like I mentioned, this is going to be a short one. We're just focusing on the NFL. So we're going to start with last week, Thursday night's game, the 49ers and the Seahawks. Brock Purdy, once again, just showing his all types of poise and composure in a game that meant so much to the 49ers and so much to the Seahawks. 49ers won the division last Thursday, beating the Seahawks 21-13. We had games on Saturday now that college football is not, doing Saturday slates. And boy, what a couple games these were. The largest comeback in NFL history. The Minnesota Vikings come back from 33-0 at halftime to win in overtime 39-36. An amazing comeback by those guys, showing a lot of heart, a lot of fire. Unbelievable. Just the greatest comeback of all time. And everybody has said, and I'll repeat it here. Before Saturday, the greatest comeback of all time was the Buffalo Bills over the Houston Oilers, led by Frank Reich, who is the same Frank Reich that was released earlier this year by the Colts. And now the Colts are on the end of on the losing end of the greatest rivalry of all time. Not greatest rivalry of all time, but the greatest comeback of all time. Excuse me. And as for the Colts, listen, Jeff Saturday said that he wanted to come back, but when you look at it, the last game before Saturday was the Sunday night game against the Dallas Cowboys. Uh, there was 33 to nothing swing. There was 33 to nothing fourth quarter in there for the Cowboys. He scored 33 points in a row for the Cowboys against the Indianapolis Colts. They had a bye and they came back Saturday. They played the Vikings, and then they went up 33 to nothing. What a swing that was in 2 games, in 2 quarters of football, and you still could not get the job done. I don't think you can bring back Jeff Saturday. It might be time for Matt Ryan to retire, because now Matt Ryan has been the quarterback on on 2 of the biggest comebacks ever. The biggest comeback ever in NFL history, playoffs or regular season, and then the biggest comeback in the Super Bowl history, 28-3. It's unreal. Browns beat the Ravens 13-3, and unfortunately, it wasn't it wasn't a snow game at all. The snow didn't come until the fourth quarter and towards the end of the fourth quarter as well. So we didn't get a lot of snow, anything like that, unfortunately. But we saw a hell of a game. Dolphins held tough, held their water. Buffalo Bills took down the Dolphins 32-29. Josh Allen looked like the Josh Allen that was playing before he had his little mini slump there where he was throwing interceptions all the time. So he looked back to normal, and if he is back to normal, watch out. Now to Sunday's action. The Eagles took down the Bears 25-20. In that game, Jalen Hurts injured his shoulder, sprained it. Who knows if he'll play this Saturday against the Cowboys? But if not, Gardner Minshew will step in for the Eagles. In what was deemed a playoff game, and maybe it was, the Lions beat the Jets 20-17. Zach Wilson played. Mike White was still out with a rib injury. Jets are still not out of it, but they're gonna need some help, and you're gonna need to win along the way. And Zach Wilson's gonna have to be a big part of it. The Lions continue on winning, continue on playing well, and they are looking for some help as well to try to get into the playoffs. Maybe a couple of losses here and there from a few teams. The Steelers beat the Panthers 24-16. The Chiefs beat the Texans 30-24. Again, the Texans have a lead in that game and just couldn't keep it. And the Chiefs came back to win it in overtime, 30-24. Saints beat the Falcons 21-18. A interception return in overtime by Jacksonville helped beat the Cowboys 40-34. Dak Prescott throws another interception, threw 2 in the game. It's unreal. I think we're starting to see. I think people are starting to see that maybe Dak Prescott wasn't everything like that, because there's a lot of people out there talking that mess about Dak Prescott being better than things, and maybe being a top 10 quarterback. Maybe showing that he's not really. Maybe he's on the outside of the top 10. I understand that's okay. You can win Super Bowls with that, but he's just not. He's not the person that you want him to be. Broncos with the Cardinals 24-15. Both starting quarterbacks did not play. Kyler Murray out with torn ACL, and Russell Wilson with the concussion protocol. The wildest game of the day on Sunday was the Raiders and the Patriots, and it wasn't because it was anything having to do with anything that happened the first 59 minutes, for 59 minutes and 55 seconds of the game. This all happened the last few seconds of the game when Ramondre Stevenson in the tie game was handed off the ball, ran it up the middle, and then for some reason, for some ungodly reason, pitched it to Jacoby Myers, who then runs back and throws it to Mac Jones, thinking Mac Jones can do something, but he's way off. It's intercepted by Chandler Jones, the former Patriot, and he just posterizes Mac Jones with a stiff arm and runs it into the end zone for a touchdown to walk off and end the game 30-24. Unfreaking real. And what some is calling maybe the most idiotic play in history. And it's unreal. And you can just, a lot of that has to go back to, Bill Belichick just thinking that he didn't need to get an offensive guy. He could just put in a guy who was a special teams coordinator before he was the head coach in Joe Judge, and a guy who's on the defensive side of the ball, Matt Patricia, before he could, and just bring them in, think they can be, you know, offensive guys. And I just don't think it's worked out this year for the Patriots. And Mac Jones has regressed because of it. And yeah, they need to fix that off in the off season with the Patriots. Chargers and the Titans had a thing come down to the last second where the Justin Herbert had to lead the team down the field to get a last second field goal by Dicker the kicker, and that's exactly what happened. Chargers win 17-14. Bengals was down 17-0, I believe, and then they came back and and came back and bum rushed the Buccaneers 34-27 to 34-23. Sunday Night Football, look, controversy maybe at the end of the game, whereas the Commanders are going down the field trying to get the last second touchdown to tie the game, and a couple of penalties when Terry McLaurin is not lined up correctly, so it's an illegal formation. And then on fourth down, pass thrown to one of the receivers was as he was being mugged. An obvious pass interference was not called. Whistles kept the flag in and kept the whistle in the mouths, in the pockets, or whatever you want to call it. So the Giants go on to win and beat the Commanders 20-12. Giants now have a good inside track of being in the playoff. And a team looking to stay continued in the playoffs to hopefully sneak in are the Green Bay Packers. They beat the Los Angeles Rams Monday night 24-12. So now looking to week 16, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New York Jets tomorrow night. That's another playoff game. Jets again to keep their playoff chances alive. The Jets are gonna have to win, for the Jaguars to keep their hopes alive of getting the NFC South title. Because if the Jaguars win out, they will become the AFC. I say NFC, excuse me, the AFC South champions. They need to keep their moments alive. Two quarterbacks from that draft class last year, the number one overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, and the number two overall pick, Zach Wilson. Should be a very interesting game headed out tomorrow night. The the Falcons. This is now most of the games are on Saturday this week because of Christmas. We do have 3 Christmas games. But we're going to start with Saturdays. The Falcons are taking on the Ravens. The Lions are at the Panthers. Again, the Lions need to continue to win it. And the Panthers need to win too because they need to try to keep, somewhere get close. Because if they can keep it within range, they've already beat the Buccaneers. I think they played the Buccaneers on the last game of the season. If they beat the Buccaneers and they're within that 1-game range and it ends in a tie, they would win the NFC South. Chiefs at the Seahawks. No, excuse me. That's the upside way around. The Seahawks are at the Chiefs. The Saints are at the Browns, the Texans, and the Titans. Again, Titans need to beat the Texans to continue their lead in the AFC South. Bengals and the Patriots. Bengals are just on a hot roll right now. They want to keep their stuff continue. They have a big game in Week 17. The Giants are at the Vikings. Both teams looking. The Vikings looking to clinch. Well, they did clinch the NFC North, I believe. So, um, but they're looking to continue momentum because if Jalen Hurts is not going to play the rest of the season, um, they might lose some games, and then the Vikings need to try to keep it continuous because there's a tiebreaker there between the Eagles and the Vikings, and the Vikings can jump past the Eagles and get the number one seed. They would have the bye in the NFC. So we'll have to see what happens. And the Giants, they need to keep it rolling. They want to lose this right now. Like I said, they have an inside shot to continue being the 6th seed and making the playoffs. But you want to keep a hold of that because there is some teams behind it like Detroit, Seattle, and again the Commanders who can very well maybe overtake them. Um, unless the Giants and the Commanders end in a tie, then it would be the Giants. The Buffalo Bills are coming to Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears. Weather said this is going to be a crazy game. This is going to be this is going to be on the line on the same kind of weather like the Bills had against the Patriots, where it was like tons of wind, up to 55 miles an hour, things like that. So, and who knows if it's gonna, be snowing because the snowing is supposed to start today in Chicago, and who knows what it could be if it could still continue on into Saturday. So that could be an interesting game to be watching. The Commanders at the 49ers. Again, two teams still grabbing out. You want the 49ers want to continue to be on the road, continue to get hot, as they go into the playoffs, and the Commanders are still trying to hold on to that number 7 seed. So that would be a good one. Um, of course, the big one is going to be Eagles at the Cowboys. However, it's going to be something to behold as, Jalen Hurts plays or not. And if he does play, how effective can he be? So, and now all the talking that they were doing last week, we were going back and forth with each other. This is going to be something interesting on December 24th. The Raiders at the Steelers, as we just mentioned, the celebration that was supposed to be for Franco Harris and the 50th year anniversary of the commemoration of the Immaculate Reception alongside his jersey retirement may be something different come Saturday night as the Raiders take on the Steelers. 3 games on Christmas Day. The Packers are at the Dolphins. Both teams again Packers trying to get into the tournament. Dolphins trying to stay in the tournament. The Broncos at the Rams and the Buccaneers are at the Cardinals. And in Monday Night Football, the Chargers are at the Colts. So there you have it. All of the games of Week 16. Should be a very interesting week in the National Football League. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for your understanding of this shortened edition of the game according to me. Like I said, I have other things that I need to do today. You're just getting like a little stripped down version of it. I will not, once again, if you don't know, I will not be here next week. I will not be putting out a game according to me next week because I will be on vacation and I will have no way to record it and nowhere to record it or anything like that. So, and I can't pre-record it because the games haven't happened. So, um, yeah, there will be no game according to me next week. I will be back January 4th with an edition of the game according to me, and it will be some along the lines of what is, you know, what I've normally done. We're gonna talk about the um NFL slate. That is all we do. We're gonna delve into more of the college football ball games and things like that. The what's the names would have happened. The playoff games would have happened by then as well. So we can jump on those. We'll talk about some of those bowl games and other things like that. Some Knicks and Knocks. We'll maybe, depending on what happens, maybe talk some hot stove leave and some more signings. If the Correa signing doesn't go down or whatever, we may jump into more of that. Talk about basketball in the new year and everything like that. So yeah, make sure you are here and ready for it. So again, thank you guys so much for your understanding for this week's episode of That to Shoot. I appreciate so much. If you are someone who likes to support creators, I have a couple ways you can do it. I have 3 ways. The first way is to go to patreon.com/AJTRIP to become a patron. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, you will be able to determine what you will hear on my other podcast, The Word According to Me, what you will see on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJTrip, 20, I believe, and what you was video games you will see me play on twitch.tv/ATriplet20. I either have to have the video game or you have to buy it for me. But it will, whatever it is, you can do it that way. You can or the second way to do it is you can go to anchor.fm/Andre Show, and right there's a list, there's a subscription tier, 3 tiers: a 99-cent tier, a $4.99 tier, and a $9.99 tier. If you want to support me monetarily. Now, if you want to support me, but you can't do it monetarily, which is perfectly fine, then what you're doing is that wherever you're listening to this podcast, make sure you're rated, give it 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever the star rating is. You share it on your social media. You share it so that your friends and family can, or followers, if you are a creator, can listen to it, and you can support me that way, and then maybe they will, you know, support me in another way, or they can support me the same way, whatever it is. I just appreciate the fact that you're listening to this, and that's all that matters. Thank you guys again so much for listening. This is your boy, AJ Trip, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there, and I am out.